Hi, Mike here with another Badonsky Buccaneers video fishing report. This one's from Friday, March 4th, 2016, and the weather's cool but sunny. The seas offshore are running about 2 feet and the water temperature is reaching about 65 degrees during the day. My older brother David and his wife Christina have made the trip over from Louisiana to visit us for the weekend. He also loves fishing, most often for redfish and trout in the marsh and lakes near his home, and also does some offshore fishing with friends there. So while the ladies are out running around, we take the boat out for some real action. With the local inshore bite kinda off, partly due to the weather and the beginning of our spring transition, I decided our best chance to keep bent rods is to hit a few reefs for some bottom fishing offshore. The forecast was not looking great, but we decided to try for it anyway. Our first stop is at the Allen Wreck near the southeast end of the Baldwin Trolling Corridor. But hey, let's get this trip underway. We get out to the wreck and set up our new Motor Guide trolling motor in anchor lock, and even in this surf it held us on the site. We drop down some cut squid and start picking up a few triggerfish and small red snapper, but also pick up quite a few ruby lips, great amberjack bait, so we start throwing those in the live well. Here, like on our last trip, we're using our Shimano Takota reels, which are mounted on 6-foot Star Paraflex rods. A great setup for light duty trolling and some bottom fishing. After we get about a dozen or so ruby lips, we pick up and head out to a popular spot, the Lulu, often frequented not only for its fishing but also diving. We get set up over a spot with lots of returns showing on the Lowrance, and I set David up for the first fish, and it doesn't take long before he's hooked up.
Got him! You got him! Now that might be an AJ.
Not wanting to lose a bunch of tackle to the wreck like a couple of weeks ago, I chose to go straight to the Penn Squall 50, which we'll look at later. With heavy line and plenty of drag, it makes short order of these fish, not to mention wearing my big brother out. And wasn't that what this trip was all about?
I'll see you later.
This site is well fished and not really noted always for having lots of monsters, but it's a great location for keeping bent rods, and you can still put a keeper or two in the fish box.
That's the amberjack. Yeah. Nope, it's amber. Who do?
This amberjack was about an inch or two undersized, so we threw him back. We took turns reeling up several fish, a few amberjack, unfortunately all undersized, and a few large red snapper. But we had lots of fun even though the legal sized AJs were eluding us.
Oh yeah, you got a big one now. Oh. Damn, I think he might whoop you. Huffing and puffing over there awful hard.
The Lulu, an old freighter sunk in 2013 as part of a dive and reef program, is about 17 nautical miles south of Perdido Pass. It sits in about 120 feet of water and usually have lots of fish around it, including everything from red snapper, grouper, and greater amberjack, and in the summer, barracuda and king mackerel, just to name a few.
Alright. Got a leader. Yep, got a leader. Oh, big ass red snapper.
Next up, Mike's tackle box. I'll go over the gear we've been using to catch these hard-fighting fish.
You went and found the biggest one you could find?
Hi, Mike here with another Mike's Tackle Box. Today we're going to look over the tackle and the equipment we were using to catch those big amberjack and red snapper. Here's a good representation of our usual arsenal of rod and reel combos we normally take on our offshore trips. We typically use the conventional reel setups for reef, bottom, and wreck fishing. Here, Teresa's Dakotas are dependable and easy to use reels, and they are mounted on a 6-foot Star Paraflex rod with roller tip. These reels have a level wind feature, great for novice anglers, and this power handle helps prevent fatigue on long fights. The terminal tackle we've been using are the typical chicken rigs, and you can make these on your own or purchase them ready to go. It's basically a 3-foot, 30-pound test leader tied with 3 loops for attaching a sinker at the bottom and 2 hooks about a foot apart. The top is attached to the main line with a swivel. These rigs were great for catching small snapper, triggerfish, and baits. Next is our regular go-to setup, our 2-speed Shimano TLD30, which has a lever drag system. It's on a 6.5-foot Shimano Talus rod. This reel also has a power handle for easier fighting. I have a 150-pound wind-on leader for hassle-free fishing on these wrecks. This is the usual setup we use for fighting those AJs. And these super sharp 7/0 owner circle hooks really close the deal. Here, our 2-speed Penn Squall 50 really did the job keeping those larger fish from breaking us off in the wreck. It also is a lever drag reel and is mounted on a Penn International rod. This heavy-duty setup has a 200-pound wind-on leader with an 8-ounce weight and a 12/0 circle hook, and despite its size, the fish didn't seem to shy away from it. I know this was a big setup, borderline overkill, but it was the only way to keep from losing tackle to the wreck. Also, we make sure we have plenty of leader material and terminal tackle anyway, and don't skimp on it. Buy quality supplies like this Momoy Mono leader, or you could risk losing the fish of a lifetime.
Well, that was the equipment and terminal tackle we were using to catch those amberjack and bait fish and red snapper. We hope you found this informative. We also like to thank everybody that has subscribed to our YouTube channel and enjoyed watching our shows. Please stay tuned for more episodes. Because coming up, we're going back to Crystal River. We're hunting snook next month, so stay tuned for that one. Also, be sure to follow us on Facebook. There are free giveaways. Check it out and see what we're giving away this month. That about wraps it up for this Mike's Tackle Box. We hope you enjoyed it and found it informative as well as entertaining. Y'all have a great day and be safe out there.
Well, I hope you found that episode of Mike's Tackle Box informative and helpful. Now back to the action. Here, I dropped down a large piece of bonita as a last-ditch attempt to bring something home in the fish box, and it pays off. This legal amberjack, we later found out, was one that had also been stealing some of our baits earlier.
That's a keeper.
We had a great time on this trip. We got to fight lots of fish and even got one for the dinner table. And it was wonderful having my big brother out on the boat for the first time. Well, that about wraps up this episode. We hope you've enjoyed it and found it informative as well as entertaining. Thanks for watching and have a blessed day.